Coming up in today's show, we're going to be taking a closer look at the 4 up-and-coming fixtures for Southampton. Well, the international break is coming to a close. After just 3 games, the league broke for its first international break. Give me your thoughts on a break so early. Just 3 games in, and there's an international break. I find it absolute madness that we're having an international break after just 3 games. Just as we're all settling down, the transfer window closes. We play 1 game with the window closed, and guess what? It's international break time. So I find it absolute madness that we've had one so early. FIFA, UEFA, you are absolutely ruining players. There's just no need for it. The Nations League right now, there's no need for it, in my opinion. Give me your thoughts in the comments box below. Well, it's a massive 4 weeks coming up for Southampton. A huge month ahead for Russell Martin and Southampton. He's a manager which, crazily, is already under pressure. Not only is he under pressure from the mainstream media, because all they're doing right now is talking about Southampton. It's all Southampton this, Southampton that. The way we play football, the way we're trying to play it out from the back. Everybody is questioning the way that we are playing football right now. We're making errors, and it's been highlighted in the highest league in the world. And I think as we go into the next 4, if things don't change and the same mistakes keep resulting in errors and goals conceded, it will heap the pressure on the football club and the manager even more so. And I think that the fan base as well now are tetchy after just 3 games. Southampton don't have a point on the board yet. Just 3 games in, 3 defeats, and we're making way too many errors, individual errors, which we need to rectify quickly. Very difficult for Russell Martin to use the international break to work with players because many of them go away on international duty. Taylor Harwood-Bellis was away with the England under-21s as well. So it's a difficult time for any manager. So the game's up and coming for Southampton. We kick off on Saturday with a game against Man United at home. Then we are back at home the week after to Ipswich Town, followed by 2 away games to Bournemouth and then to Arsenal, who nearly won the league last year. So I see it as a really, really hard month. And I want your thoughts in the comments box below. Give me your thoughts. How many points will Southampton get from these 4 up-and-coming fixtures? United, Ipswich, Bournemouth and Arsenal. A mega tough month. We're going to break down each fixture individually and take a closer look at each team. How have they started this season? And how do we feel Southampton will fare against each of the opposition? First up is Man United at home after this international break. United boss Erik ten Hag, he's coming under some increasing pressure right now following a really turbulent start to this season. Despite winning the FA Cup last season by defeating Man City, their league campaign was a massive disappointment. United finished 8th. It was their worst league finish since the Premier League inception. So a poor end to the season for them. Injuries to key players, including Martinez and Luke Shaw, left big gaps in their defence, and they did find it really difficult to get any consistency. Ineos have gone in at Man United, and there are growing questions over whether the board will continue to back Ten Hag. This is a must-win game for the Man United manager, in my opinion. He will have to win this game. There is so much pressure on him right now. And this fixture, their only win so far has come against Fulham in the opening day at home. Since then, they've lost away at Brighton and they got totally ran over, by Liverpool before the international break. They got ran off the park, in my opinion. I thought Liverpool were really good, but United were poor. Bruno Fernandes, though he's a great player, he really does have a very, very strange temperament, in my opinion. He divides opinion and he's constantly moaning, and his behaviour on the pitch, I think it can be a massive distraction. And that could work in Southampton's favour next weekend. United's away form last season was not brilliant, with a record of just 18 wins on the row. They had 3 draws, but they also lost 8 times in the Premier League last season. Southampton, though, they will need to stay solid for this one because United will look to get Southampton on the counter. That is certainly the way that they seem to play. So what do we expect and what do we think we will get from the game against United? Well, I think it's almost a free hit for me. Yes, it's a massive game. One I don't expect us to win, but to get anything out of this fixture would be massive. I think we see massive changes to the starting 11. Give me your thoughts to that in the comments box below. How will Southampton set up against Man United? But I expect a totally changed 11. I would probably see at least 3 changes to the starting 11. I think Cameron Archer will come into the side. There's a good chance that Cornet will come in and play some role. And I expect Leslie Ugochukwu to come into midfield and play with Flynn Downs. I'm not convinced that Will Smallbone will keep his place right now, nor do I expect Joe Aribo to keep his place. I just don't see those two staying in the side. There's a big decision on what he does in the way we set up formation-wise. Is he going to stick to playing the same system or will he revert to a 4-3-3? I still think he needs a front three that can start getting closer together and really troubling teams. We need a front three that can almost tuck in and play and make a midfield 5 when we need to. But that's the way I would go. Go the original 4-3-3 that he played last season. I really liked it, and I think he will have to switch between several different systems in the weeks ahead. He will need to adapt. I said it when I went on the overlap that I felt Russell would adapt. I hope he does, because if he doesn't, I really do fear in the next few games we're going to need a plan B and we're going to need different options as the fixtures come thick and fast right now. Because after United, we're at home again. So it's 2 games at home. Ipswich Town is a massive game. They're on a high after an impressive start to the season so far. They did really well against Fulham before the international break. They dominated the game. And to be fair, Liam Delap caused Fulham endless issues. He played really well. He's strong, he's powerful, and he actually looked a really good signing. A lot of Southampton fans turn their nose up to Liam Delap, but actually, from what I've seen, he looks a really good player. He will cause us problem. His movement's good, and he's physical. He's everything that we don't have up front right now. Despite a really challenging opening run of fixtures, it included Liverpool and Man City, along with Fulham. Ipswich have looked quite composed from when I've watched them play. I've watched all their highlights and I've been impressed with them. After this international break, they face Brighton away. It's a tough test, that one, to go down to Brighton and get anything. Levi Davis has been outstanding when I've watched them play at left back. I thought he was going to be good this season. Nathan Broadhead looks really good. Those two have stood out along with Delap, and they've also got Sami Smodic in the side as well. They've got creativity out wide and they will cause Southampton loads of issues because they will look to really press Southampton, and they've got fast, pacey wingers that will look to go behind the fullbacks. I think it's a really intriguing game. Southampton didn't beat Ipswich last season in the home fixture of the away. A narrow victory at home last time round in the Championship. They've got growing confidence, and Southampton are going to need to be really organised to avoid a defeat against them. And depending what happens with the Man United game, I think this one could be a real pressure cooker for Saint, because they're going to be looking for a win more than ever. And to go 4 games without a victory or a point on the board is going to be mega, mega tough. But I think we'll get that far. I don't see us beating United, but I see Ipswich as a game that we need to get something out of. And then it's 2 games on the road for Russell Martin and Southampton, because they head to Bournemouth. It's Bournemouth away, followed by Arsenal away. Bournemouth are undergoing a remarkable transformation as a football club right now. They were relegation candidates season after season. And now, under this new manager, Areola, they're one of the most exciting pressing teams in the Premier League. I've watched them a lot the last couple of weeks, and I've watched all their highlights back. The Spanish manager is really implementing a high-intensity style of play. He gets his side to press, set traps, and they counter-attack teams. But when they counter-attack at speed, power, and pace. And I'll tell you what, they're a really deadly side to play against right now. He played alongside Mikel Arteta, did Areola, in their youth days. And he also worked under Marcelo Bielsa at Real Vallecano. And Iriala, he brings a real blend and mix of what the lead side almost did under Bielsa. That high energy, that press, that counter-attacking football, that exciting football. He has got so much about him as a manager. They're an organised side as well. They had a slow start to the Premier League season last year, but they've hit the ground running this time round. They've got 5 points on the board. They're unbeaten going into the post-international break. They have matches against Chelsea at home and Liverpool away before they play Southampton. At the Vitality, this one, it's a tough place for Southampton to go. Somewhere that we've traditionally done quite well. But they will be absolutely relishing playing us. They'll be sharp in possession, and Southampton will need to be really at the races in this one because they do not want to fall into Bournemouth's pressing traps, because if they do, we will get massively undone by Bournemouth. It's a really tough away fixture, this one. I don't see what we get from this one. If we walk out of there with a point, you'd be absolutely chuffed to bits, because it is a really, really tough place to go, in my opinion. The game against Newcastle was really intriguing down there. They deserved to win that, Bournemouth. The comeback against Everton was remarkable, because apparently they were poor for 85 minutes, but they really did turn it around. I watched the vlog from the Cherries guys that create match content here on YouTube, and it was a brilliant watch. If you get an opportunity to go and check them out, back of the net, really, really good content. But you can take a look at what they were saying in the build-up to that game, and also drawing the game, because they reckon they just weren't that good against Everton, but they walked out of there with 3 points. And then, before the next international break, we face Arsenal. Arsenal were close to Premier League glory last season, as we all know. They won more games and they scored more goals than the legendary Invincible side did. But under Arteta, they developed into a pretty well-balanced side, you'd have to say. They're an attacking force to be reckoned with. They have a rock-solid defence as well, and they don't let a lot of goals in. I think it was only 29 goals they let in last season in the Premier League. So their defensive resilience is unbelievable, and home form was impressive for Arsenal last season. They lost only 2 games, and they only drew 2 at home. So their home form was remarkably good. This season, they're going to be hungry to go one better as well. They've started the season fairly well, but Saints will have to be at their absolute best in this fixture. The Gunners very, very rarely drop any points at the Emirates Stadium. So get involved in the comments box below. I want your thoughts on the up-and-coming games. 4 fixtures for Southampton, starting at St Mary's this weekend against Man United. Eric Ten Hag under pressure. It's then Ipswich at home, a team that got promoted where Southampton finished 2nd place. And then it's on the road to Bournemouth and Arsenal. How many points do Russell Martin Southampton pick up in the next 4? And how do you see it shaping the season? I want you guys involved. Debate it in the comments box below. I see it as a massive, massive month. I believe we have to get some points. 4 points minimum, I would say. Yeah, I think it will be. I think if you got 3, you'd take 3 right now. But I think 4 is a must, in my opinion, to get something against Ipswich, and either a point out of Man United or the game down at Bournemouth would be huge, because I don't see anything against Arsenal. And let's be honest, we have a dreadful record against Man United at home. I need to look at the statistics. I believe we've only beaten them once at St Mary's since we moved there from the Dow. And that was many years back, early 2000s. James Beattie scored the goal, I remember it well. So I see it being a tough month. How do you see it going, Southampton fans? Get involved. Give me your thoughts. Thank you for tuning in today. I hope you've enjoyed the video. And I'll be back again later in this week with a pre-match preview live for the Man United game. And I'll also be creating some match content around the big game this weekend. And if you want to feature in any of the content, get involved. Drop me a DM. You can email me at this following address. It's thefootballmartin@gmail.com. Drop me a DM and get involved in the content.